When you think of a Cuban sandwich, you might not expect to find Brazilian flavors in the mix, but that's exactly what husband and wife team Mike Hartley and Miriam Leek Meira are bringing to Houston with Yuma. What started as a pop-up has now grown into their first permanent restaurant, serving Cuban-inspired sandwiches, Brazilian bites, tropical cocktails, and more. And Miriam is here with a taste of Yuma. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. All right. When we talk about that Brazilian flavor, that you come by that honestly, you spent a lot of time in Brazil.
Yes. So every year my dad would send me to Brazil during our summer breaks here in the United States. So June, July, August, I would be there fully assimilated into the day-to-day. My grandparents were there, my dad's whole side of his family. So I'd be going to school also alongside my cousins for 3 months a year. Yeah. So
it's
25%.
funny how a lot of people think that everything south of the border is just Mexico. It's like one big Mexico, right?
Yes,
no, there's
it's true.
so many different influences. And even with Brazil, I remember when I was there, we kept sliding into Spanish and they're like going Portuguese, basically. It's Portuguese. We're like, oh, okay. They go, it's okay. We're surrounded by Spanish speakers all over the place, so we know some. But every country is different. Every island is different because it's all based on what they had access to.
Absolutely. So, I mean, Brazil is really an interesting, I like to call it a salad bowl, but most people call it a melting pot because there are lots of individual cultures that settled there and maintained their identity while also kind of taking in parts of what was around them, using what was native to the space. So, actually, that's kind of a perfect segue into one of our sandwiches, the caipira, so it's this one right here.
Okay.
That's our steak sandwich. So what we did is we kind of took the Cuban sandwich and then melded it with the Brazilian cut of meat, the picanha, which is super well marbleized and just gets really tender. And I mean, in Brazil, it was considered a slave cut up until not very recently. I mean, a couple hundred years ago now. But they just would salt it and then roast it, and it just has this gorgeous flavor on its own.
Yeah, that's the
that
thing
we
I
love
noticed
now.
with the meat there. And if you go to like a churrascaria, where it's seasoned meat, and the reason why they didn't have refrigeration, so a lot of it was salted. So you did have that seasoner. That is so good.
Exactly.
It's got a little spice to it as well.
Yep. So what we did is we thought, oh, what if a churrascaria does a Philly cheesesteak? So we slice it thin like a cheesesteak. We give 2 kinds of cheeses, sautéed onions in there, and then we change it up a little bit by adding our in-house made chimichurri.
That is so good.
Yeah. So that's where that
interest in food.
From.
I mean, obviously we all have interest in food growing up, but then you found yourself in a situation where you had to learn how to feed yourself.
Yeah, that's true. I actually really didn't start cooking on my own until I was post-college, actually, even. Just in my apartment, and I was sick of getting Chipotle every day. So I was like, I should probably learn how to cook. And I got those like little home chef kits or Blue Apron or whatever, and I started teaching myself that way. And it was a lot of fun, and I really fell in love with it. And so then I went and enrolled in culinary school.
Yeah.
Because that's a natural step after Blue Apron.
You fell in love with it, and then you fell in love with someone else in the food industry.
That's true. That was, I mean, fast forward a few years for sure. But yeah, my husband was the chef at Brasserie 19, and I was in the front of house, kind of bartending, serving, doing whatever was needed there. It was just kind of one of those things. One day I looked at him, I was like, man, that guy with the backwards baseball cap looks really cute today.
He's cute.
And then we went out, and it was just kind of one thing after the next, and we moved in like a month later.
Things started cooking right there. Yeah. All right, when I bit into this sandwich, the bread was so good, because that's one thing that will ruin a great sandwich, and when the bread's not good. The bread is so good, not surprised. You had MMH Provisions, which was a micro bakery.
Yes. So, we were baking our own breads. We had sourdoughs, focaccias, ciabattas. I mean, if it was a bread, we were making it. And so we just took fresh baked bread and said, we want to make sandwiches. That was sort of the start of this concept. And then we had a friend who said, hey, I really want good Cuban bread. So we started making Cuban bread and finding all the similarities between Cuban culture and Brazilian culture. So from there, it sort of molded into this, and
and so you got rid of the bakery. The bakery basically kind of was like needed into this right here, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So we always wanted to own a restaurant of our own. So yes, once we knew we wanted everything done from scratch, whatever kind of restaurant we opened. But once we met our friend who kind of brought her Cuban culture to us, and then we started seeing all the similarities with the Brazilian culture, we said, you know what, this is so fun.
And this is
Let's
so
just make sandwiches.
Too, because we're so diverse that our diversity goes beyond just specific genres. So it's the fusion of everything, right?
Exactly. Yes. And so that sandwich you're holding right there is our vegan sandwich. It is incredible. It has our madurones, so fried plantains. It has a black bean puree, so Brazil and Cuba, lots of black beans there. Then we have sauteed mustard greens, because in Brazil we do a lot of kale, but mustard greens just add that bite to it. And that orange sauce.
I'm gonna stop you for a second.
Yes, please.
When you said vegan, I was like,
Here we
Okay,
go.
let me see what's going on right here. This is so good and flavorful. And if
I
you really
know.
stop to think about it, meat by itself, if it's not flavored, is not good.
Right.
It's just not good. It's
Yeah.
about the seasoning and the spices and the textures that you put together. And you did it right here.
Thank
this is
you.
really good. Oh,
Yes.
wow. Okay.
Honestly, my best friend said stop calling it vegan so people actually buy it more. Because they see vegan and they stop themselves thinking,
Yeah.
oh, well, I want meat though. Trust me, you will not miss meat
Just
after
give
that.
it a name. It's not being, just give it a name. Yeah, and just
No.
say here, or you might want to try this sandwich. It's got black beans
This
in it. It's
one,
got
yes.
this. Yeah, what's this one right here?
All right, so that's our classic cubano. We didn't reinvent the wheel. That's just a great example of how we make everything from scratch. The bread is obviously fresh baked in-house. We're making our own mustard, obviously the pickles as well. The only things we're not making on there are the ham and the cheese, although my husband has some crazy ideas about that as well. But I told him curing ham may have to wait.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, we're just
You're going to
making
be at the
everything.
auction at rodeo getting pigs,
Oh
aren't you?
my gosh! Can I? With what space? But anyway, yeah, we're just making everything from scratch. We just wanted to bring like a really beautiful Cuban to Houston. I mean, there are some really great ones out there, but with the fresh baked, real Cuban bread, it just really
And
changes
the choices
everything.
you have there, they're all are so good, but all have their own complete lane that they're in. All right.
yes.
If you've been to a Brazilian restaurant before, or Brazil, you know, one of the things they're really famous for are these cheese bread balls here.
Yes, our Brazilian cheese roll, the pão de queijo. We make ours from scratch once again, and then we put our little twist on it by frying them to order, so they get nice and ooey gooey on the inside, crispy on the outside, as you can see that texture there. And then the final side I brought today. Right here, our madurones, yep. So just fried plantains. We kept it really simple. We salt them and then serve it with our sofrito sauce, which is that same sauce that you saw on the vegan sandwich. It's just bell
We're not
peppers,
calling it vegan
shallot, and
sandwich
garlic.
anymore.
Sorry.
Same sauce that was on that awesome sandwich.
Yes, the
Same
awesome
sauce
one.
on the awesome sandwich right there.
Absolutely.
All right. You have some specials like Brazilian steak night every Wednesday. In-house smoked picanha with house-made dry rub that you have. Your happy hour Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 4 to 6 p.m. All right, what is next for you all?
Well, we have a lot of things. I mean, it is sandwich month, so please come in and get a sandwich. It's also National Rum Month. We're doing 20% off all pours of rum and cachaça, so get to know Brazil's version of rum. And then in September, to start off the month, September 7th is Brazilian Independence Day. We're going to do a ton of really fun events. We've got karaoke at 8 p.m. We're also going to do happy hour all day. We're going to bring on a guava caipirinha as a special, and we're going to launch our secret menu, which is, I guess, not so secret anymore now that I've just said it.
There you go. Okay, yeah, I love the Brazil.
Yeah.
So I'll be at the karaoke. All right,
Absolutely.
Yuma is located on Washington Avenue and opens at 4 p.m. Wednesdays through Mondays for a look at their latest specials, happy hour offerings, and what's new on the menu, including this awesome sandwich that happens to be vegan. Follow Yuma HTX on Instagram.